Nancy, you want to do roll call? Public hearing to order. Nancy.
Allen. Here. Ellie.
Here.
Considine.
Present.
Barster.
Here.
Gibbler. Horseman.
Here.
Hudson.
Present.
Humphrey.
Here.
Kitson.
Present.
Copain.
Here.
McLean. Laram. Nicholson.
Here.
Norberg.
Here.
Palin.
Here.
Sheline.
Here.
Shippert.
Here.
Scrogstad.
Here.
White.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Wilson. Zeman.
Here.
Olson.
Here. Okay, under new business, we got a public hearing pursuant to 55 IL CS 5-5-1095A of the Illinois Counties Code and 47 US 542 of the Cable Act, specifically regarding the proposed implementation of a 5% franchise fee with Comcast and Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio LLC. This hearing is being conducted for the purpose of taking public comment on the implementation of the cable franchise fee pursuant to the same act, 47 US Section 542. The Cable Act authorizes Lee County Board to implement a franchise fee as up to 5% of annual gross revenues received from the operation of the cable systems in the franchise area. Notice of this public hearing was published August 13th, 2021 in the Sauk Valley newspaper. The board is proposing to implement a 5% franchise fee, which will go in effect once the processing is complete, which will be between 60 to 90 days after the execution of the franchise agreement with Comcast of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio LLC. The hearing procedure will be as follows. Any member of the public that wishes to comment will be recognized by the board chair. Please come to the podium in the back of the room and speak in the microphone and state and spell your full name for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes to comment on the proposal. At the conclusion of the public comment, any board member that wishes to speak on the proposal will be recognized. I will now open the floor to any member of public that wishes to comment. Anybody want to comment from the public? Seeing none, I'll move to the board members. Any board members like to make a comment at this time?
I have a question or
Sure,
clarification.
Mr. Horseman.
It looks like this only governs the television aspect and not internet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there a particular reason for that?
Joan, do you want to explain that? Joan is here from Comcast.
The reason is that the FCC, they're the ones that enacted the Cable Act, and it is only to govern cable. That happened back in the 1980s, and at that time, internet was not what it is today. So it only does govern cable. So it's just the video portion, the TV.
Any other comment?
Other question.
Sure.
It doesn't seem that there's any provision for negotiating the rates the Comcast will charge for this. Is there a reason why that's not included in this 10-year agreement?
I think we were allowed up to 5%, and we chose the 5%. The executive board to go with the 5%. We can go with between 0 to 5. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh, yeah, I was talking about the user rate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Comcast would be charging taxpayers.
I would defer to Joan on that.
That is governed by our cost of doing business. And right now it's about 51% of our cost relates directly to what we put out, what we have to pay networks to put them on our system. So even though we have people on the phone 24/7 and we have all those little vans running around and all the gasoline and all of that, our largest cost of doing business is what we have to pay the networks. And we have contracts with each individual network. And that really is what does drive our costs significantly. And that varies from year to year, frankly.
Well, do you know if any local governments have agreements with Comcast that has some sort of provision relating to what sort of rate increases to be imposed?
No, that is not part of any agreement. In fact, the agreement that you folks, if you approve this and everything goes through, it's a standard model agreement that over 500 communities have signed in the last, well, it's been probably 12, 14 years. So some of our communities are already signing their second agreement after 10 years. So it's everyone has the same agreement, that we feel that that's the only real fair way to do it. So, and that happened it's been about 12, 14 years ago when that model agreement came together. And it was attorneys from many communities along with our team, and they negotiated this draft agreement, and that's what you have before you.
Yes, Marilyn.
Do the majority of the communities that have this agreement opt in for 5%, or are there any at lesser percentages?
There were a few that had smaller percentages. There were a couple that had 3%, one had 1%. Now everyone is pretty much at the 5%.
Okay, thank you.
In our agreement, I think it's 5 years. We elect to go the 5 years
Yes,
instead of the 10-year, because I think 10 years is a long time in this business. So I wanted to cut that in half, and then we revisit this in 5 years. The next board will in 5 years.
yes, that's absolutely fine. Most commonly it's 10, but we're absolutely fine with going with 5, and then we'll look at it again. And if things are going as we all hope and expect, then we can move forward again at that time.
Any other board members' comments?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I could, please. Are the current Comcast customers aware of this increase? Have they been notified of it or anything?
As soon as we don't do that until you folks come to an agreement and vote, and they will get notification 30 days in advance, at least 30 days in advance before those, the 5% is added to their bill. And it will say right on their franchise fee, and it'll list the amount individually. We'll get calls, you'll get calls, but that's what happens.
So in other words, if we pass it today, it's a done deal. The customers will be notified that they're going to be
Exactly,
assessed 5% on their bill.
exactly.
Okay, thank you.
And then we pay you quarterly. You'll get a check or a direct deposit into your account 45 days after the end of the quarter. You'll have your franchise money sent directly to you.
Any more questions or comments? Yes.
Thank you. Question I have is people I've spoke to, they brought this up, is the fact that they understand the fact that it's going to be money income for the county. But these are people who are on fixed income, a lot of them are elderly, and actually all they have left is TV. And this is their concern of this rate going up along with everything else so far in our economy, which we have no control over. And this is my concern, where this is going to go eventually. And this is what some of these people, their concerns were, is the fact that is this going to be it? But 5% doesn't mean, it probably isn't a lot of money to some people, but when we talk to some of these elderly people, it is money.
Totally agree. Rick, you had a comment?
Yeah, do you happen to have an idea or a map of your coverage area for the county?
I can get that to you. It's any unincorporated areas that are not included in one of your cities, like say, for example, Dixon. That would be yours for wherever we do serve. So I can look at those and let you know where they are.
So you can serve the rural area if it's not inside the city limits.
Yes, we can, but it needs to be within some proximity to where our plant is. And it normally is 125 feet from where our plant is. And I'd have to look at the maps to find out exactly where that goes.
125 feet?
What-
Yes,
what-
but we do go out into the county. I don't have a map with me to take a look at that, but I can get with our team and find out exactly where those areas are.
Yes, Marilyn.
So we're basically probably discussing the rural subdivisions, Forest Park, Castellan, Fox
Likely
Run.
than not, yes. Yeah, because I believe I don't want to say for sure. I'm thinking there might be 900 customers. I can look for that number for you as well. I shouldn't give you a number until I check it, but I can find that information.
Questions or comments? Yes, Marvin.
Let's get a percentage.
No, we don't even charge a handling fee. Every nickel, every dime that we collect goes directly back to you. This will be 5% more on just the TV portion of people's bills. And if you vote for what you have now, it's for 5%. At any time, you are more than welcome to remove it, to reduce it. That's completely up to you.
More comments? Yes, Marilyn.
When you said it's, excuse me, you said it's completely up to you. It's up to us as a board, but not to the customer.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're voting on their behalf.
I think is Dixon, what's the cities that are charging the 5% now? Dixon, Amboy, what, do you know which cities and?
All of the cities that are in your county are charging the 5%.
Any more comments, questions? Thank you, Joan. If none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the 5% over 5 years and to renegotiate at that time. Mr. Nicholson first. Do I have a second? Mr. Palin seconds. Let's do this by a roll call vote.
We're actually still in the public hearing, right?
Yes, but I think Charlie wanted to vote for this, I think.
And vote from here? We have
Yes.
to wait for the,
Yeah, so last month we approved it.
Okay.
Mr. Norberg approved the Comcast franchise agreement contingent upon having a truth and taxation hearing was what we're doing tonight with the 5% amount. It was approved last month, but I think we're just doing housekeeping. We're gonna vote it here and then we'll move it on to the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hudson,
No.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Copain,
No,
McLean, Lyram, Nicholson,
Yes.
Norberg,
Yes.
Palin,
Yes.
Sheline,
Yes.
Shippert,
No.
Scrogstad,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Wilson, Zeman,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Valley,
Yes.
Considine,
Yes.
Arster,
Yes.
Gibbler, Horseman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
It's 15 yes, 3 no.
Motion passes. The closing statement, this concludes our public hearing on the implementation of the cable franchise fee. Thank you. We'll have our board meeting, regular board meeting at 6 o'clock.
You want a motion to adjourn?
I don't need one on a public hearing, but